Don't look over there. He knows he did it. And you know, the funny thing is you believed it. Because in November of 2022, you proclaimed that the board had actually reviewed a complaint and used that to push back on criticism. Tonight, the Lawrence City Commission heard a second round of recommendations for community oversight and accountability of the Lawrence Police Department. In the 6 years or so since the city set this board up, it has been little more than a check mark on the city's agenda, otherwise known as window dressing, as Jane Gibson put it in 2022. We've spent more than $120,000 on consultants who have made recommendations that are either ignored or cast aside. There's also been significant turnover and much frustration regarding the actual scope and responsibility of that board. In 2022, when Jane Gibson resigned from the Community Police Review Board, she wrote a letter to city leaders explaining her decision to do so. Her reasons were directly tied to the obfuscation she experienced from the Chief of Police. That letter is available at the City of Lawrence website. During the first 38 minutes of a March 9th, 2023 CPRB meeting, our Chief of Police was called out for his misstatements in the meeting minutes. Excuse me. For his misstatements in the meeting minutes, and the board actually discussed moving to make corrections on that. Shortly after that happened, board members found out that they hadn't actually reviewed an actual complaint.
And we've reviewed an appeal here before in executive session.
It wasn't an appeal.
No. That the chief had conducted an exercise with them without telling them. Jane Gibson resigned with this letter. You had 2 more board members resign after the manipulation. Don't look over there. He knows he did it. And you know, the funny thing is you believed it. Because in November of 2022, you proclaimed that the board had actually reviewed a complaint and used that to push back on criticism.
But I looked at the 2 reports that he referred to, that Michael referred to, and both of those, they recessed into executive session to, 1 was to discuss security measures, 2 was to review a case of potential bias. So to say they're not doing anything, I think that's not accurate, not 100% accurate.
And you were wrong. Board members were not pleased. In fact, our mayor at the time, as I just said, had used this reviewed complaint as an example of work accomplished to push back on critics at that city commission meeting. This was said in response to comments that I had made. Okay? You'd have to go back and watch these meetings for hours to watch how these discussions played out, but there was a push-pull in that room. And when you listen to the police officers, when they were deciding how they were going to defer to things, I can't tell you how many times I heard words to the effect of, if that's what the chief wants. And you can go back and listen to the meetings. And don't look at me like I'm crazy, because you guys need to be listening to these meetings. And if you haven't yet, and you're looking at me like you're confused, you're the problem. Commissioner Sellers once commented that she didn't want this process to take 10 years like it did in Louisville. We're already over halfway there, and we still have no accountability in this town.